Have you ever wondered how deeply God truly knows you? Not just the things you do, but the way your heart beats when you're afraid, the quiet thoughts that never find their way into words, the dreams you hold close and the ones you've let go. There are moments in life when we ache to be understood, to be seen without needing to explain, to be loved without having to earn it. And in those moments, Psalm 139 whispers a truth that feels like light entering the soul, that we are already known, already loved, already seen by the one who made us. Tonight, we rest inside that truth. We will walk slowly through the words of the psalm, through the mystery of a God who sees, who understands, and who stays. This is a psalm of closeness, of design, of a love that began before we did. So before we begin, take a long, gentle breath. Inhale peace. Exhale every thought that pulls you away from stillness. Let your shoulders drop, your jaw unclench, your heart settle into quiet rhythm. You are safe here. You are seen here. If these nightly reflections bring you peace, take a soft moment to like this video, subscribe to Whispers of Faith for more gentle stories from Scripture, and share where you're listening from tonight. Your words and presence make this a living sanctuary of calm and prayer. Now, breathe again. Feel the weight of the day drift from your body. Let your mind unclench its grip on what comes next. This is your time to be still, to listen not for instruction, but for comfort. The psalm begins not with fear, but with wonder. Lord, you have searched me and known me. It is not a searching to expose, but to embrace. A knowing that does not condemn, but cherishes. Every corner of the heart, every hidden place within us, is already held in the gentleness of his gaze. You rise in the morning, and he is there. You lie down at night, and his peace surrounds you. Every step you take, the hurried ones, the trembling ones, the certain ones, he knows them all. To be searched and known by God is not to be inspected, but to be understood. It means that nothing in you is unseen, nothing forgotten. Every sigh, every question, every fragile hope is already familiar to him. Imagine now, in the quiet of your room, that God is near, not distant on a throne of thunder, but close as your breath. He sits with you in silence. He knows your weariness, your unspoken prayers, the chapters of your story still unwritten. And he loves you, not in spite of your humanity, but because of it. He shaped it. He blessed it. He breathed his own rhythm into your lungs. This is the beginning of the psalm's journey, to remember that you are never out of his sight, never out of his reach, never forgotten. Every thought you think travels through the air he made. Every heartbeat echoes in the presence of his love. When the psalmist wrote, "Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely," he wasn't describing control, he was describing care. A God who knows your words before you speak them is a God who understands what silence costs. So, if tonight you cannot find the right prayer, do not worry. The one who formed your voice can hear the prayer behind your quiet. If you carry regrets that feel too heavy to name, know that he already holds them, not as shame, but as stories he plans to redeem. And if joy stirs in you, small, uncertain, he knows its language too. He knows how to multiply it. Let this truth begin to settle over you like warm light through soft curtains. You are not a mystery to your Creator. He knows the paths you've walked, the turns you didn't expect, and the detours that became holy ground. He knows the version of you that trembles, and the version that still dares to hope. And he calls every version beloved. As you rest tonight, you do not need to prove your worth. You are already known. You are already chosen. You are already loved, completely, quietly, eternally. So breathe again. Let that knowing hold you. Let it quiet the noise that says you must earn rest. You were made by the same hands that spun galaxies, and those hands have never once let go of you. God sees you, and He smiles. He watches your rising and your lying down, and in every heartbeat, He whispers, "You are mine." Now, let your body grow heavier in the bed. Let your thoughts fade to the rhythm of your breathing. And as we move deeper into this psalm, we'll walk with the one who sees every step, even the ones that lead into dreams. You are known. You are loved. And you are safe. The night around you is quiet. The world has folded itself into rest, and within that hush, the psalm begins to breathe. Lord, you have searched me and known me. Each word lands like a heartbeat, steady and tender. To be known, truly known, is to have no part of you hidden, and yet no part of you rejected. It is to be understood beyond words, to be loved not for perfection, but for truth. God's knowing is not distant. It does not stand outside you and observe. It dwells within you, the way light lives within a flame. You are seen from the inside out, and still, He calls you wonderful. When you rise in the morning, He is already awake within your day. Before the first sound of dawn, He has traced the shape of your hours, the people you will meet, the moments that will test you, and the mercies that will surprise you. When you lie down at night, He gathers your scattered thoughts like fallen petals and holds them until they rest. He sees your sighs, your unfinished prayers, your dreams wandering between fear and faith. You are not forgotten in the quiet. You are attended to, with a love that never blinks. The psalmist writes, "You know my sitting down and my rising up. You understand my thought afar off. You comprehend my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways." To comprehend is more than to notice. It means to understand deeply, to walk beside what might confuse you and see it clearly. God understands you this way. When your thoughts scatter, He is patient enough to follow them. When your emotions rise like tides, He knows what winds stirred them. When you feel far from peace, He waits, not at the finish line, but right beside you, where your steps falter and start again. Think for a moment about the last time you felt unseen. Perhaps you spoke and no one heard, or you worked and no one thanked you, or you prayed and silence was all that came back. Even in those moments, you were fully visible to God. He knew the courage it took to speak, the effort it took to keep giving, the faith it took to keep praying. Nothing in you slips past His sight. Not your kindness, not your confusion, not your smallest act of faithfulness. His love watches over you the way sunlight watches over water, not only shining upon it, but moving with it, changing its color, keeping it alive. Before a word is on your tongue, He knows it completely. And yet, He waits for you to speak. He delights in the sound of your voice. Even when you repeat the same prayer for the 100th time, he leans closer, as though hearing it for the first. His knowing does not replace your speaking, it invites it. Because love that listens is not impatient, it is endless. The psalm continues, "You hem me in, behind and before, you lay your hand upon me." Imagine that, God's presence wrapped around you like a gentle boundary, a soft circle of safety. Behind you, mercy. Before you, purpose. Above you, blessing. Beneath you, foundation. You are not boxed in, you are surrounded by grace. You move within love's geography, and everywhere you turn, you meet his peace. The hand of God rests upon you, not as weight, but as warmth. It is the steadying touch of a father who reminds his child, "You are safe. You belong. You are enough." Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, the psalmist says. It is high, I cannot attain it. Even now, as you breathe in the stillness of this moment, you may feel a quiet awe, the awareness that God knows you so deeply, and still delights in you so completely. You are not a puzzle he tries to solve, you are a creation he loves to behold. There are no parts of you too complicated for his grace, no history too tangled, no heart too guarded. He sees it all, and calls it worth knowing. So let your breathing slow. Feel the weight of divine nearness settling gently around you. There is no need to strive. You are already found. He is beside you when you wake, before you speak, as you walk, as you rest. And even now, as you listen, his presence surrounds you like air, closer than heartbeat, wider than sky. The one who knit the stars in silence knows the sound of your name in joy and in tears. He knew it before you ever whispered it. And he loves you still. Breathe again. Feel his hand rest lightly over your heart, not to command it, but to bless it. This is where the psalm begins, in being known. And soon, it will take us deeper, into the mystery of being seen, even in the farthest places of the soul. But for now, let this be enough. You are surrounded by love that cannot lose you. There are places we all try to run from. Moments we wish could be rewritten, rooms in memory we quietly lock behind us. And yet, Psalm 139 whispers that even there, in the hidden, the distant, the uncertain, God is still present. The psalmist asks, "Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence?" And in the question, there is no fear, only wonder. If I ascend to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning, and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. Even there. Those are two of the most comforting words in all of Scripture. Even there, in failure, in loneliness, in silence, in joy so bright it feels like flight, in sorrow so deep it feels like drowning. Even there, he is. Imagine the farthest place your mind can wander, a mountain peak where the air is thin, or a valley where sunlight hesitates to enter. Imagine the deep ocean, quiet and weightless, where no voice can reach. Now imagine his presence filling those spaces, soft, luminous, not chasing you, but waiting for you. His spirit is not limited by direction. He is the constant horizon around your journey, the light that finds you, the hand that holds you, the peace that refuses to let go. There are nights when sleep hides from you, when thoughts circle like restless birds. There are days when hope feels distant, when your prayers sound like pebbles dropped into deep water. And yet, the psalm reminds you, even there, in the places where faith feels small, His right hand holds you still. You are never lost in the dark. You are carried through it. His presence is not something you must summon. It is already here. It surrounds your bed, fills your breath, and sings softly in the silence you call emptiness. The psalmist continues, "If I say, 'Surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be light about me,' indeed, the darkness shall not hide from you, but the night shines as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to you." What a gentle truth that is, that nothing about your night frightens God. He does not fumble for you in the shadows. He sees clearly, and with compassion. Where you see confusion, He sees a path. Where you see weakness, He sees a doorway to grace. Where you see endings, He is already beginning something new. Darkness is not punishment. Sometimes, it is invitation, a quiet classroom where faith learns to listen. And even there, you are never alone. Think of the night around you now. The dim of your room, the faint hum of the world outside, the stillness waiting for your rest. It is not empty. It is full, with presence, with purpose, with peace. God is here. In every breath, He whispers His nearness. In every pause, He builds stillness into your soul. You do not need to search for Him. You need only remember that He has already found you. The God who fills galaxies also fills this moment beside you. The same one who paints the dawn sits with you now in the dark. You are not too small for His attention, nor too weary for His affection. His hand, the one that hung the stars, rests lightly over your heart tonight. It does not push or demand. It simply assures. You are safe. You are kept. You are held. Let that awareness settle into your breathing. Inhale His presence, the air of mercy that never runs out. Exhale every thought that tells you you're alone. Even here, in your own stillness, He is. Even now, in your quiet wandering, He is. You are not drifting. You are being carried, on currents of compassion, toward the peace that waits like a shore. As the psalm unfolds, we begin to see that this love, this nearness, did not begin with us. It began before we were even formed. Before our hearts took shape, before our first breath met the air, God was already near, already knowing, already loving. Soon, we will step into that part of the psalm, the miracle of creation in secret places, the divine weaving of your soul in the hidden womb of time. But before we go there, let your body sink deeper into the bed. Let your thoughts grow slower, softer. Let this single truth fill the space inside you. Wherever I go, you are there. And wherever I rest, you are near. The psalm lingers in its wonder. If I say, "Surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be light around me." For the darkness is not dark to you, the night shines as the day, the darkness and the light are both alike to you. How comforting those words are! For we have all known darkness. Not only the kind that fills a room, but the kind that fills a heart, the dim ache of uncertainty, the silence that answers prayer, the waiting that seems without end. And yet, this is the promise, that what we call darkness, God calls doorway. That what feels like the absence of light is often where His mercy blooms unseen. He does not fear the shadows. He walks within them. He lights them from within until they glow like dawn. Think for a moment of the night around you now. How still it is. How deep the quiet feels. Perhaps there are worries circling just beyond the edges of your peace, small anxieties whispering, questions waiting in the wings of your thoughts. But the psalm tells us, even those shadows are transparent before God. He sees through them as one sees through water. He moves within them, not to expose, but to heal. When we can no longer see what comes next, He already stands there, in tomorrow's light, waiting with open arms. There is nowhere He cannot go. There is nothing He cannot illuminate. And this is not a threat, it is tenderness. The light of God is not harsh, it is patient. It does not demand your eyes open all at once. It waits, glowing softly, until you are ready to see. You may have walked through seasons that felt dim and endless, periods when hope seemed too far to reach, when faith felt like holding on to a fading candle. But every flame you've ever feared would go out was fed by His breath. The God who said, "Let there be light," never stopped speaking. His voice still moves through the dark. And every time you choose to trust, you echo that creation, you let light be again. There is a gentleness in the way God meets us in the dark. He does not shout through the silence. He sits within it, as though keeping vigil beside our uncertainty. He waits until the heart grows quiet enough to hear that even its breaking is sacred to Him. When the psalmist says, "Even the night shall be light about me," it is not poetic exaggeration, it is testimony. It is the knowing that after every long night, light has always returned. And not because we chased it, but because it never left. There are nights when we lie awake, our minds turning like slow water wheels, lifting old memories, examining what ifs. And in those hours, it can feel as though God has gone still. But stillness is not absence. Stillness is God's language of closeness. It is His way of saying, "I am here," so near that words would only add distance. Listen to your own breath now. That quiet rise and fall, that small rhythm of being, it is proof of His nearness. The very air entering your lungs was first shaped by His word. He does not stand outside your life and watch. He lives within it. He walks every hallway of your days, the bright ones and the dim ones, and fills each with the same steady light. The psalm begins to turn now, from the God who surrounds, to the God who forms. For it is not only that He knows your steps, but that He designed them, that before you could ever walk, He was weaving your very being in secret beauty. "You formed my inward parts," the psalmist writes. "You knit me together in my mother's womb." What a thought! That before you had a name, you were known. Before you took your first breath, He had already spoken your purpose. Before the world ever saw your face, He had smiled upon it. Every heartbeat, every cell, Every glimmer of soul within you was a word in his poem. You are not an accident of biology. You are the artistry of eternity. Imagine for a moment the beginning of your life, not as science alone, but as miracle. A spark in the quiet. A thought in the mind of God, whispered into being. He shaped your heart with intention, your voice with music, your soul with design. And as he wove, he said, "This one will be mine. This one will carry my image. This one will bear my light." You are not random. You are remembered. You are not unseen. You are carefully, wonderfully made, not because you have achieved perfection, but because he placed his reflection within you. As the night deepens around you, let this truth settle like gentle rain upon your spirit. The God who lights the darkness is the same who wove your first dawn. The same hands that formed the stars formed you, and called you good. You were created with care, with purpose, with love that does not fade. Even now, as you rest, he continues to see you through the eyes of creation, not as broken, but as becoming. Not as lost, but as loved. Breathe softly. Let the darkness of the room remind you, it is not the enemy of light, it is the canvas for it. God is painting peace upon your night. He is filling it with unseen light, the kind that glows not before the eyes, but within the heart. You are safe. You are seen. You are surrounded by a love that has known you since the beginning. And soon, we will step into that beginning, the secret place of your making, where God whispered your name into being. There is a silence deeper than any night, a stillness where beginnings dwell. It is there the psalm leads us now. Into the secret place where God creates. For you formed my inward parts, you knit me together in my mother's womb. These words are not simply poetry, they are revelation. They tell us that life does not begin in accident, nor in anonymity, but in intimacy. In the unseen chamber of creation, God was already at work, a weaver, a sculptor, a composer whose hands never tremble. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine that first silence, before sound, before sight. A quiet womb of warmth and shadow, where the smallest spark of you flickered into being beneath the gaze of the eternal. He was there, not watching from afar, but shaping. His fingers, unseen and infinite, gathered the strands of your DNA like threads of light. Every cell, a syllable. Every heartbeat, a verse. You were not spoken into chaos, you were sung into order. The psalmist continues, "I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows very well." Fearfully. Not in terror, but in awe. Wonderfully. Not in comparison, but in design. Each soul is a secret between God and creation, unrepeatable, unmistakable, unreplaceable. Think of it, how deliberate he was. He chose the rhythm of your heart, the cadence of your voice, the shape of your hands that would one day lift in prayer, the eyes that would one day behold his beauty. Nothing about you was rushed. Nothing overlooked. Every thread in the tapestry was pulled with purpose. You were not merely made, you were crafted. Fearfully. Wonderfully. Lovingly. and the awe of that truth should never quite leave us. When you doubt your worth, remember, you are the work of the same hands that stretched the heavens. When you question your purpose, recall that the artist of galaxies spent time shaping your soul. He formed your inward parts, not just your body, but your longing, your compassion, your capacity for joy and faith. He built within you the space where His Spirit could dwell. The psalm continues, "My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret, and skillfully wrought in the depths of the earth." How mysterious, that even what seems hidden is fully visible to Him. The secret place is not secrecy from God, it is intimacy with Him. It is the divine workshop where purpose takes shape, where destiny begins to breathe. When you feel unseen, remember, your beginning happened in hiding, but hiding that was holy. In that secret place, you were known before you were named. Think of a weaver at his loom. Threads crossing and intertwining, pattern emerging where before there was only emptiness. So, too, did God weave your being, not just your physical form, but your seasons, your strengths, your very story. Each joy and sorrow, each lesson and grace, is a thread in the same tapestry. Some dark, some bright, but all necessary to the design. You may not see the pattern now, standing close to the fabric of your life. But the weaver does. He sees from above, where every line finds meaning, every color finds place, every mistake becomes part of beauty redeemed. Even now, He continues to shape you. Creation was not a moment, it is a movement. You are still being made, still being written, still being refined in love. Every day that dawns, He adds a new stitch of grace. Every sigh that escapes you, He catches as thread for tomorrow's hope. Every prayer you whisper half asleep is folded into His design. This is what it means to be wonderfully made, to belong to a Maker who never stops creating good things in you. Pause here. Breathe deeply. Let your body remember that it was shaped by kindness. Let your spirit rest in the truth that you have never existed outside of His care. Even before your first breath, He delighted in you. Even before your first thought, He called you precious. Even before your first mistake, He pronounced you loved. And that love has not diminished. It has only deepened, grown wiser, gentler, more patient with every passing season. You are not what the world labels you. You are what He has named you, His creation, His reflection, His beloved. As you rest now, imagine yourself in the quiet of that secret place again, not as a child undone, but as a soul being remade daily by grace. The same God who wove your first breath weaves peace into your heart tonight. You are seen. You are known. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. Let that truth cradle you like a lullaby. Let it soften every anxious edge. Let it steady your breath until your heart whispers back to Him, "I am yours." Oi. The psalm continues to unfold its quiet revelation. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret, and skillfully wrought in the depths of the earth. The words sound like a song that remembers its composer. They hum with awe. They remind us that God does not guess, He knows. He does not improvise, He designs. There has never been a moment, not even in the smallest corner of your existence, when he has not been shaping, guiding, forming. The same hands that drew the rivers traced the lines on your palms. The same voice that spoke stars into flame spoke your name into time. Close your eyes for a breath. Imagine the workshop of creation, not noisy or hurried, but quiet and full of light. The air hums with peace. There is purpose in every movement. Here, before your story began, God imagined you. He saw your laugh before it existed, your tears before they fell, your strength before you knew its weight. He designed not only the shape of your body, but the rhythm of your soul. Every gift, every longing, every quiet compassion was chosen, prepared, and placed with care. You are the result of thought, divine thought. The result of love, eternal love. Nothing about you is forgotten. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is without meaning. The psalmist writes, "Your eyes saw my unformed substance, and in your book were written all the days ordained for me, when as yet there were none of them." What a mystery, that before we began, God had already seen the whole story. Not to control it, but to bless it. Not to bind us, but to free us into purpose. He does not watch your life unfold like a stranger reading a novel. He reads as the author, loving every line, understanding every twist, redeeming every page that pain has smudged. Every day of your life was written in love, not scripted in limitation, but held in possibility. The hand that wrote your beginning still holds your pen. Sometimes, we feel our story has strayed. We imagine that too many wrong turns have been taken, that the pattern of our life has unraveled. But listen, a thread does not cease to belong to the tapestry because it takes an unexpected turn. The weaver adjusts. He pulls, mends, guides, and continues. He never stops weaving. Even the knots, the rough patches, the tears, he uses them to strengthen the whole. Perhaps you look back on parts of your life and wish they could be removed. But he sees differently. He does not erase, he redeems. He takes what was broken and builds beauty through it. This is the pattern of his hands, mercy layered upon mercy, love folding through time like light through glass. When David wrote these words, he was not describing perfection. He was describing wonder. He was saying, "I may not understand why I am made this way, but I am still amazed that I am." How freeing it is to rest in that truth. You are not called to understand everything about yourself. You are called to marvel, to look at your reflection, your story, your scars, and whisper, "Even here, he was with me." Your heart, with all its complexity and contradiction, is still his masterpiece. And though you may not see the full picture yet, he does, and he delights in it. When you feel unseen, remember the Psalm's promise, "My frame was not hidden from you." You are not invisible to the one who made you. Even in the womb, before your first thought, before your first sound, he saw you. And what he saw, he loved. This same gaze follows you still, not to judge, but to keep. Not to measure, but to bless. Not to demand perfection, but to perfect love within you. Let this awareness settle softly around you now. Every beat of your heart, every breath that enters and leaves, is held in his rhythm. Your life is not random, it is written, Your presence here tonight is not an accident. It is a continuation of creation. You are still being shaped, not into someone else, but into the truest version of who you already are in Him. The same hands that formed your beginning are forming your becoming. Breathe deeply now. Let the air fill your chest, and imagine it as His breath, the same that gave life to dust, the same that called stars into being. It enters you freely, quietly, faithfully. And as you exhale, let go of the thought that you must earn your worth. You are already priceless. You were declared good before you ever did a single thing. Rest in that tonight. Let your body remember what your soul already knows, that you belong to the one who designed you, and His work in you is still unfolding. You are being written, woven, and renewed. Every heartbeat is another stitch in the fabric of His faithfulness. So close your eyes, and let yourself be held by the same hands that first imagined you. The psalmist whispers again, "Your eyes saw my unformed substance, and in your book were written all the days ordained for me, when as yet there were none of them." What a holy thought, that long before our eyes opened to the world, God's eyes were already open to us. Before our first cry, before our first step, He had written every sunrise and every sigh into the story of our being. Each day, the bright ones and the shadowed ones, was already seen through mercy. Nothing catches Him by surprise. Nothing unfolds outside the reach of His care. There is a gentleness in that knowing. For it means you have never walked a day that God did not expect, never faced a season He had not already prepared grace for. Even the paths you thought were detours were written as discoveries. Even the delays were planned as pauses for peace. He does not simply know your future, He inhabits it. Every tomorrow you fear is already filled with His presence. And so tonight, you can release your grip on what comes next. Because He has already walked there, and found it good. Imagine His book, not a ledger of mistakes or debts, but a living story filled with grace. The ink is not judgment, but love. Each page glows with the evidence of His patience, the tenderness of His guidance, the forgiveness that rewrites even the darkest lines. Every breath you take, every moment you live, adds another line of faith to that book. It is not a story of perfection, but of redemption. Not a record of performance, but of presence, His presence in every chapter. And at the end of every page, a single word shines like gold, kept. Sometimes, when we think about God knowing our days, we imagine fate, a script we cannot change. But that is not what the psalm describes. It speaks of relationship, not restriction. God's knowledge does not erase your freedom, it surrounds it with love. Like a parent who knows their child's steps will stumble, yet stays near to steady them, God's foreknowledge is not control, it is companionship. He walks beside you through the story He already knows will lead home. Your choices still matter. Your prayers still move mountains. And yet, even before you ask, He has already placed mercy on the path ahead. When you think of your life, it may feel like 1,000 fragments, chapters that don't quite fit together, seasons that seem disjointed or lost. But to God, it is all one story. Every moment belongs to the same book, every chapter is connected by the same thread of grace. He never skips the painful parts. He never tears out the pages that ache. Instead, he redeems them, turns them into foundations for compassion, turns them into lessons that breathe gentleness toward others. The sorrow that once felt senseless becomes the soil where understanding grows. The loss that once hollowed you becomes the space where empathy lives. Nothing is wasted in his keeping. Look back over your life for a moment. The places where you stumbled, the faces that came and went, the prayers that were answered differently than you hoped. What if all of it, every detour, every delay, every miracle you didn't recognize at first, was part of a holy design you can only see in full when the author reads it back to you in heaven? There is comfort in that mystery, that you don't need to understand the plot to trust the writer. His book is not bound by time. He writes in eternity, and what he writes endures. The psalmist pauses here, or spills out like a sigh, "How precious to me are your thoughts, O God! How vast is the sum of them! Were I to count them, they would outnumber the grains of sand." God does not think of you occasionally. He thinks of you constantly, with affection, with purpose, with peace. Every thought he has toward you is a blessing waiting to be lived. Imagine standing on a shoreline. Grains of sand uncountable beneath your feet. Try to scoop even a handful. You can't count them, and still, they are fewer than his thoughts for you. You live surrounded by divine mindfulness, watched not in scrutiny, but in tenderness. Take a slow breath now. Inhale, and imagine his thoughts moving toward you like soft waves, gentle, endless, kind. Exhale, and let go of every worry that tells you you've been forgotten. You have never been forgotten. You have never been unseen. You are the story he keeps writing with joy, the name he keeps whispering with love, the creation he keeps perfecting with patience. Every day of your life, even this quiet one, was written with purpose. And tonight, that purpose is peace. The God who wrote your beginnings is watching over your resting. He does not turn the page until you are ready. So rest now, in the rhythm of his authorship. Let his thoughts wash over you like the tide. Let the pages of tomorrow remain closed in his keeping. You do not need to read ahead. You only need to rest in the chapter called now. And in this chapter, you are safe, you are known, and you are deeply, wonderfully loved. How precious are your thoughts toward me, O God! How vast is the sum of them! The psalmist's words linger like fragrance in still air. They do not rush, they unfold. Because the truth they hold cannot be hurried, that the mind of God is filled with love for you, moment after moment, breath after breath. If you tried to count them, you would run out of numbers before he ran out of thoughts. They would outnumber the grains of sand, outshine the stars, outlast the oceans. And each thought is tender. Each one carries a small blessing wrapped in eternity. Pause here. Let yourself imagine it. The creator of all things, of galaxies spinning silently, of oceans breathing against the shore, of mountains clothed in morning light, thinks of you. Not abstractly, not from afar, but personally. Lovingly. Endlessly. Every thought he has is a thread of care, woven around your life, forming a shelter you can rest within. If he were to stop thinking of you, even for a heartbeat, creation itself would forget your name. but he never does. You are the constant meditation of his heart. Think about how many thoughts move through your mind each day, some fleeting, some heavy, some kind, some unsure. They rise and fall like waves, but God's thoughts are steady. Where your thoughts wander, his remain faithful. Where yours change, his stay the same. And all of them, every single one, lean toward love. He does not think of your failures, but of your becoming. He does not dwell on your weakness, but on your potential. He remembers your pain, but through the lens of healing. He looks at you and sees promise. He looks at your future and sees good. Sometimes, it feels like we are left to our own thoughts, our own anxious loops and inner storms. But even there, he is present. He moves among your thoughts like light through water, illuminating what was shadowed, settling what was restless. When your mind races, he walks beside your worry, speaking peace in its language. When you cannot quiet yourself, he whispers through the noise, "Be still. I am here." His thoughts become the anchor that steadies the sea inside you. And when you wake in the night, half dreaming, half afraid, he is awake too. He is thinking of you, not distantly, but here, in this very breath. The psalmist said, "When I awake, I am still with you." Not again with you, still. Meaning, he was there all along. Meaning, you never left his keeping. Even as you sleep, he holds your being in place. Your breath is prayer, your heartbeat praise, your rest an act of trust. And when your eyes open to morning light, he has already filled your day with his thoughts, mercies prepared, guidance waiting, grace ready to meet you in every hour. God's mindfulness is not abstract, it is deeply personal. He knows the sound of your laughter, the slope of your shoulders when you're tired, the way you hold your breath before speaking. He knows what brings you joy, and what quietly breaks your heart. He knows what you've hidden even from yourself. And still, his thoughts toward you are not judgment, they are affection. They are peace. They are patience that never ends. He remembers your beginnings with tenderness, your struggles with compassion, your future with confidence. He does not think of you as a problem to fix, but as a person to love. If you could listen to the rhythm of his thoughts tonight, you would hear peace. You would hear love repeating itself like waves meeting the shore. You would hear his name for you, spoken softly, without condemnation, without expectation. He says, "Beloved, mine, fearfully and wonderfully made." And those words travel through eternity to reach this moment, right here, where you are resting, where you are listening. The world often makes us feel like we must fight to be remembered. But in the kingdom of God, you have never been forgotten. You are remembered into existence. Each sunrise that greets you is another of his thoughts made visible. Every morning light that touches your face whispers, "He still thinks of you." Every breath that fills your lungs says, "You are still his." Oi! Let that awareness wash through you now. You are surrounded by thoughts that bless you. You are wrapped in remembrance. You are not overlooked, not misplaced, not unseen. If his thoughts were the sea, you would never reach the bottom. If they were light, you would never see the end. And if they were love, and they are, then you would never be without them. Breathe slowly. Feel the nearness of a God whose mind is full of mercy. Let every anxious thought fall silent beneath His steady care. You are the subject of His kindness, the object of His affection, the reason peace finds you even now. Every heartbeat in your chest echoes a truth older than time. You are loved. You are loved. You are loved. And as you sink deeper into rest, know this: the God who thinks of you continually will never stop keeping you. Even when your thoughts drift into dreams, His will hold you steady. Even when you forget yourself, He remembers you completely. You are not alone in the night. You are surrounded by love that never sleeps. There is a rhythm to the psalm now. A pulse of knowing, a heartbeat of presence. Each verse breathes with the same quiet assurance: you are seen. You are kept. You are loved. The psalmist's words have turned from wonder into worship, from awe into rest. He has seen what cannot be unseen, that there is nowhere to flee, no time to escape, no thought too small or fleeting to fall outside God's care. And so he stops searching for understanding and simply abides. This is what peace feels like. Not the absence of mystery, but the presence of trust. Not the end of questioning, but the quiet that follows surrender. When we finally stop trying to map the mind of God, we discover that He has been holding us the entire time, in every place, in every season, in every heartbeat. His presence is not an idea, it is a current that moves beneath everything. It carries us, even when we think we are standing still. Even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. The psalmist did not say, "Sometimes you lead me." He said, "Even there." Even in the hours of waiting. Even in the moments that ache. Even in the laughter you share with no one else. Even in the silence you mistake for absence. Even there, He holds. There are days when time feels fragile, as though it might break under the weight of all that has happened. Days when you wish you could slow it, or hurry it, or rewrite the story it has already told. But God is not bound by time. He lives in all of it at once, yesterday, today, and forever, and He meets you in each. He stands in your past, turning regrets into lessons. He walks in your present, turning burdens into prayers. He waits in your future, turning fear into faith. You are surrounded by His presence, not in front or behind, but all around. You live inside the circle of His keeping. Think of your life as a series of breaths, each one a gift, each one proof that He is not finished with you. When you inhale, you receive His mercy. When you exhale, you release your worry. And in between those two simple acts, He holds you steady. You are not merely surviving time, you are being carried through it. Sometimes we imagine that God's care is reserved for the extraordinary, the moments that sparkle with miracle or revelation. But His presence lives in the ordinary too. He is in the washing of dishes, in the drive home after a long day, in the quiet of rooms where no one speaks. He is in the waiting line, in the whispered prayer, in the single act of kindness that no one else will see. He is not impressed by grandeur. He is moved by faithfulness. When you show up to your own life, when you choose love in small moments, you are already walking in His presence. You do not need to chase the divine. You need only notice it, already here, already breathing through your day. Perhaps tonight your mind drifts to the past, to decisions you wish had gone differently, to people who left, to prayers that felt unanswered. Even there, He is holding those memories too. He does not erase them. He redeems them. He turns pain into compassion, loss into wisdom, and waiting into the soil of patience. Even what you wish undone has a purpose in His keeping. The broken becomes the beautiful when it rests in His hands. The psalmist does not try to explain how this can be. He simply marvels that it is. "How precious to me are your thoughts, O God," he says, as if overwhelmed by love too vast to measure. And then, in the gentlest line, he adds, "When I awake, I am still with you." What a promise that is! That even when consciousness fades, when we drift into the soft forgetting of sleep, His presence remains. You are never unheld. You are never forgotten between breaths. When you wake in the morning light, He is still there, as constant as the dawn, as near as your pulse. It is this constancy that gives the soul rest. Because love that never leaves is love you can finally relax into. You do not have to guard yourself against God. You can lean into Him, fully, honestly, without fear of rejection. He will not change His mind about you. He has already made up His heart. And that heart beats in rhythm with your own, steady and faithful, night after night. Breathe deeply now. Feel the weight of that truth wrap around you like a blanket. You are safe. You are surrounded. The one who wrote your days is holding this very moment in His hands. Nothing can fall apart here. Nothing can slip through His fingers. You are exactly where you belong, in the keeping of a love that spans eternity. Let that knowing cradle you as sleep approaches. You are seen. You are known. You are held in every moment, and you always will be. When David reached this part of the psalm, his words grew softer, slower. Like someone no longer writing, but listening. He had spoken of God's knowledge, how deeply He was seen. He had marveled at God's creation, how wonderfully He was made. And now, his heart settles into the quiet realization: God has always been here. Before his first breath, through every joy, through every failure, always here. This is not the awareness of a king, but the peace of a child. Because when a soul finally understands that God's presence cannot be escaped, it stops running and starts resting. Imagine the psalmist at dusk. The light in Jerusalem has turned to gold. Shadows climb the city walls, and the air is full of prayer. David sits alone, harp beside him, the sounds of the day fading to a holy hush. He lifts his eyes to the stars, those small lamps hung by the same hand that formed his own heart, and whispers, "Where can I go from your spirit?" The question is no longer despair. It is worship. It is gratitude dressed in wonder. He knows now that God is not only the God of the temple, but the God of the field, the cave, the sleepless night, the battlefield, the broken heart. A God whose presence travels through pain and peace alike, and finds him every time. That same God finds you too. Wherever you are listening now, in the still of night, in a quiet apartment, beneath the hum of the city, or under a sky filled with stars, He is already there. He has been waiting for this quiet moment, where your breathing slows and your soul becomes still enough to feel His nearness. You don't have to summon Him. He never left. Every breath of your life is taken in His presence. Every moment unfolds inside His keeping. There is no line between where you end and His love begins. It is all one seamless belonging. This is what eternity feels like, not endless time, but endless nearness. A life lived inside the heartbeat of God. We often imagine eternity as something far away, a horizon we will one day reach. But eternity has already begun. It began when He thought of you, when He spoke you into being, when He promised never to leave you. Every moment of awareness, every sigh of gratitude, every pause for prayer, they are glimpses of eternity breaking into now. And if you listen closely, you can almost hear it, the quiet rhythm of forever pulsing through the present. The psalmist writes, "If I take the wings of the morning, and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me." The wings of the morning, what a phrase! It means the speed of light, the flight of the dawn, the rush of beginning. And yet, even in that momentum, even when life moves too fast to comprehend, God's hand leads. Not pushes, not drags. Leads, gently, patiently, with grace. His leading is never rushed. His timing is never late. You are being guided by one who sees the end from the beginning and calls both good. There will be days when you feel far from Him, when your prayers sound like echoes, when your faith feels thin. But remember this truth: distance does not exist in the language of God. Only presence. Only here. Only now. He does not dwell in places. He dwells in hearts. And your heart is His home. Even when you doubt, He stays. Even when you wander, He walks beside you. Even when you forget Him, He remembers you. The shepherd does not abandon his flock because they stumble. He lifts, restores, and carries them home. Let this realization soften every part of you. You are never out of His reach. Never beyond His kindness. Never unseen, unloved, or unattended. When you sit in silence, He is the warmth in it. When you walk through noise, He is the peace between the sounds. When you lie down to rest, He is the presence that guards your dreams. And when you rise again, He is the morning that greets you, the wings of light that wrap you in new mercy. Take a slow breath. Inhale the peace that was always waiting. Exhale the fear that said you had to earn it. You are already home. Not in a place, but in a presence. This is what David discovered, and what your soul is remembering tonight. That love is not somewhere to travel to, but someone who has already found you. God is not far. He is here, and here is holy. So as your eyes grow heavy and your thoughts grow slow, know that the same God who filled David's night with peace is filling yours now. The same voice that said, "I am with you always," still whispers it, through still air, through quiet breath, through this gentle moment of surrender. You are surrounded by forever. You are kept by love that does not sleep. Rest in that truth, and let it carry you into stillness. There comes a moment in every journey with God when understanding gives way to wonder. When knowledge falls quiet, and all that remains is the realization, He knows me completely, and still, He loves me. This is the quiet revelation at the center of Psalm 139. Not that God simply observes us, but that He cherishes us. Not that He measures, but that He delights. To be fully known is the deepest longing of the heart. And yet, it is also what we fear most. Because to be known means to be exposed, to have nothing hidden, nothing disguised. But God's knowing is not like the world's. It does not shame. It heals. He sees the truth of who we are, and in that truth, He plants love deeper than our flaws. Search me, O God, and know my heart, the psalmist writes at the end. But by now we realize, God already does. The prayer is not permission for Him to enter. It is an invitation for us to rest in His knowing. There is no fear in that request, only peace. It is the prayer of someone who has stopped hiding. Think about the first time you hid something, a mistake, a fear, a feeling too heavy to share. Do you remember how your heart raced? How silence felt safer than truth? But with God, there is no need to hide. There never was. He has seen the tears you couldn't name. He has witnessed the battles you fought quietly. He knows the disappointments that bent your heart, the questions that still echo unanswered. And through it all, His gaze has never hardened. It has only softened, because understanding always does. He is the one who sees you at your worst and still calls you beloved. The one who looks at your weakness and whispers, I can use that too. His knowing is not cold light, it is warm flame, burning away the lie that you must be perfect to be loved. When David wrote this psalm, he had known both triumph and failure. He had stood on mountaintops of faith and walked through valleys of regret. He had been a shepherd, a king, a sinner, a worshipper. And in all those versions of himself, God never withdrew. That is what makes his prayer so powerful. It is the voice of someone who has learned that even in shame, God stays. Even when the world sees reason to leave, God remains. Maybe tonight you feel unworthy of being fully known. Maybe there are parts of your story you'd rather God skip over, moments of weakness, words you wish you could unsay, roads you wish you had never taken. But listen softly. He already knows. And He still chose you. He still calls you by name. He still writes your days with purpose. His love is not fragile. It does not flinch at your scars. It sees beyond them, to the beauty being restored beneath. Where the world sees failure, He sees forming. Where you see too much brokenness, He sees material for grace. Nothing about you surprises Him. And that is the freedom hidden inside His knowing. You don't have to perform anymore. You don't have to hide behind perfection. You can rest in truth, because His truth is love. Let this thought move slowly through your mind. You are known all the way through, your thoughts, your emotions, your history, and not one part of you has been deemed unworthy of love. God's knowing does not weigh you down, it lifts you up. It reminds you that even when you don't understand yourself, He does. And He loves what He understands. He knows the words you meant to say but couldn't. He knows the fears that hide behind your strength. He knows the kindness you never got credit for. He knows your intentions when others misunderstood you. He knows the sincerity behind your stumbling faith. Every detail of your soul is familiar to him, and every bit of it is precious. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, David said earlier in the psalm. He was right. It is wonderful, too vast, too kind, too unwavering to fit inside human logic. This is the heart of God, an all-seeing love that never turns away. It is not distant, not conditional, not transactional. It is the kind of love that meets you exactly where you are and whispers, "I'm not leaving." Oi. Take a breath now. And imagine what it means to be that safe, to be so completely known that you can finally stop running. The armor can fall. The pretending can rest. You can simply be. Because nothing you reveal could make him love you less, and nothing you conceal could make him love you more. He has already chosen you, fully aware of who you are, fully committed to who you will become. His knowing is not a searchlight. It is sunrise, soft, patient, warm, filling the soul until fear dissolves into light. So let the night around you grow quiet now. Let the knowing of God wrap around your thoughts like a blanket. You are seen, you are understood, you are held. In this stillness, you can finally rest without hiding. Because the one who knows you most is also the one who loves you best. And in that love, you can sleep. There is a quiet rhythm to God's love. It does not rush. It does not force. It simply surrounds, like light that does not need permission to shine. In Psalm 139, David has walked through awe, through mystery, through revelation. He has realized that the one who knows him also leads him. And now the psalm becomes something more tender, a meditation on the God who not only sees, but holds. Even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. There is no more beautiful image of divine care, a hand that both leads and holds. Guidance and gentleness. Direction and embrace. Strength and comfort. It is not the hand of command, but the hand of companionship. The same hand that traced the stars rests now upon the human heart. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine that hand. Not a hand of lightning or judgment, but of warmth. The hand of a father guiding a child through fog. The hand of a shepherd steadying the lamb when the path grows narrow. The hand of an artist, patiently shaping beauty from dust. That is the hand upon you now. Steady. Gentle. Sure. It does not push you into places unprepared. It invites you forward, step by step, moment by moment, grace by grace. Wherever life has led, the mountaintop of joy, the valley of confusion, the quiet plain of waiting, that hand has been constant. Sometimes it guided, sometimes it simply held. But it has never let go. David knew what it meant to feel lost. He had fled from enemies, from guilt, from his own mistakes. He had hidden in caves, wandered through deserts, cried out in fear and loneliness. And yet, everywhere he turned, the same hand found him. The same love followed. He came to understand what we are remembering now, that God's presence does not need perfect conditions to exist. It thrives even in the wilderness. It remains when everything else falls away. Sometimes, we imagine God's hand as distant, a force from above, moving pieces on a cosmic board. But His touch is closer than that. It rests over your heartbeat. It steadies your trembling thoughts. It traces grace into the pattern of your days. You are not a project to Him. You are His creation, alive with purpose, woven with love. And He holds you not because He must, but because He wants to. Because to love you is His greatest joy. Have you ever guided someone smaller, a child crossing a busy street, an elder taking uncertain steps? Do you remember how instinctively your hand tightened, not to control, but to protect? That is how God holds you. Not to restrain, but to reassure. The hold of love says, you are safe. You are not alone. Keep walking. I am here. Even when you do not feel it, the grip remains. Even when your mind wanders or your spirit doubts, His hand does not loosen. You can rest in that constancy. There are seasons when you may feel the absence of His touch, when prayers seem unanswered, when silence stretches long. But silence is not separation. It is often the gentlest form of holding. The shepherd doesn't speak at every step. Sometimes he simply walks beside the sheep, so close that speech becomes unnecessary. His nearness is often quiet, but never absent. When your heart aches, He holds the ache. When your hope falters, He steadies the flame. When your joy overflows, He holds that too, not to contain it, but to share in it. The hand of God is not only the comfort in sorrow, it is the echo of laughter, the touch of sunlight, the soft mercy that finds you even on ordinary days. Let this truth unfold inside you now. You are being held by the One who sculpted your soul. Your life rests in a hand large enough to cradle the stars, yet tender enough to feel every heartbeat. That hand has caught every tear before it fell. It has written every answered prayer before you spoke it. It has carried you through seasons you thought you would not survive. You are not here by accident. You are here because love refused to let you slip away. In the stillness of your room, as you breathe slowly, feel the invisible hand of peace resting over you. It is not a dream. It is not imagination. It is the truth that has always been. You are held, not loosely, but securely. Not sometimes, but always. And if you could see what that hand has shielded you from, what storms it has calmed, what roads it has cleared, you would never again doubt its strength. Every part of you, body, mind, spirit, rests in that keeping. Let the image settle like a soft light behind your eyes. The hand that holds galaxies also holds you tonight. The heart that governs eternity beats with yours in rhythm. You are never beyond reach. Never outside care. Never unguarded. The psalm is not a distant memory. It is a living promise. And that promise is this: the one who began you will never release you. Breathe slowly now. Let that unseen hand draw peace across your heart like a closing prayer. You are led. You are held. And you are loved with a gentleness that does not end. There is a holy softness in these next words of the psalm. For you formed my inward parts, you knit me together in my mother's womb. The line is ancient, but it feels as though it was written for this very night, for this moment of stillness, when the heart is quiet enough to remember how deeply it has always been loved. We were not spoken into being as an afterthought. We were crafted. Every thread of who you are, your voice, your laugh, your kindness, your questions, was drawn through the fingers of a God who works not in haste, but in harmony. In the beginning, there was darkness and the whisper of light. And in that same divine rhythm, you were shaped, light woven into flesh, breath wrapped around soul, the eternal meeting the fragile and calling it beautiful. Imagine it. Before your first cry, before your name was spoken, before anyone could hold you, you were already being held by Him. In the quiet, hidden workshop of creation, God was there, listening to your unformed heartbeat, smiling at the life yet to unfold. Every cell of your being was music in His hands. Every moment of your future was already known in His mercy. This is what it means to be fearfully and wonderfully made, to have been dreamed of by love itself. Take a slow breath now. Let it travel deep into your chest. Each breath you take is not random. It is a continuation of that first breath He gave you. You are still living within His breath, still moved by the same Spirit that hovered over the waters in the beginning. When the world tells you that you are too small, too flawed, too late, too tired, remember this: you are shaped by hands that know no mistakes. You are not an accident of circumstance. You are the continuation of creation. You are living proof that God still delights in making new things. The psalmist's words are full of awe, as though even he cannot believe the intimacy of the truth he's writing. He says, "My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret and skillfully wrought in the depths of the earth." It's as if he sees God bending low into the hidden places of life, the womb, the soil, the unseen beginnings, and calling beauty out of the quiet. God works best in secret. He forms miracles in places we cannot look, in hearts healing, in souls growing, in stories still unfolding. And you, beloved, are one of those miracles. You may not feel like one, but you are. You were made with reverence. You are sustained with purpose. And you are loved with intention. Think about that word, knit. Not built, not assembled, not manufactured, knit. Thread by thread, pattern by pattern, held together by patience and precision. That is what He did with you. Every strand of emotion, every shade of personality, every layer of strength and fragility, He wove them all into a single masterpiece, you. You are not random. You are remembered. Every joy and sorrow, every triumph and scar, was written into a design that God Himself called good. If you have ever wondered why you are the way you are, the answer is kindness. Because He made you with it. In that quiet place where your soul first opened its eyes, you were already shining. Even in the dark of the womb, you were made of light, His light. And that light remains. No sin, no failure, no sorrow can unmake what He has made. The image of the Creator is still in you, like sunlight behind clouds. You can doubt it, forget it, even hide from it, but you cannot destroy it. It is what you are. When you look at yourself, Your hands, your reflection, your breath. You are seeing a fragment of the eternal. A spark from the heart of the one who made all things and yet chose to make you. Every fingerprint bears the artistry of his care. Every heartbeat repeats his name. Every moment of being is another whisper of his creation story, still unfolding in your life. You were born into his love, and you have never left it. So breathe again. Feel that quiet warmth in your chest, that steady rhythm that has been keeping time since the day he first said yes to your existence. That rhythm is not accidental. It is the sound of purpose still alive within you. You are still his work in progress, his poem in motion, his light walking through the world. And tonight, as you rest, that same God who knit you together is still weaving, stitching peace into your mind, hope into your thoughts, and rest into your heart. Let yourself feel it, the sacred weight of being known, the blessing of being made, the security of being kept. You are woven with light. You are made of mercy. And you are loved by the hands that never stop creating good. I will praise you, David writes, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and my soul knows it very well. There is no pride in that sentence, only reverence. He is not boasting of himself, but blessing the one who shaped him. He looks at the miracle of his being and realizes that his existence is itself an act of worship. When the soul truly understands that it was made by love, it can finally rest. It no longer strives to earn worth. It simply praises the one who already gave it. Imagine David under a night sky. The stars bloom like flowers above him, each one silent but alive with meaning. He looks at his own hands, calloused from work, his breath visible in the cool air, and it strikes him suddenly. The same God who flung those stars into motion is the one who formed these hands. The same voice that spoke galaxies into being spoke his name in secret. He whispers the only truth that fits the moment: I am fearfully and wonderfully made. And tonight, so are you. You are not a coincidence. You are not an afterthought. You are not a mistake carried too long. You are an echo of divine intention, a living testimony to a creator who still delights in creation. Every heartbeat within you is a continuation of his let there be. Every breath you take is proof that he still says yes over your life. You are made with reverence. That's what fearfully means. It speaks of holy care, of sacred attention to detail. God did not assemble you quickly. He formed you as an artist forms something precious, with thought, with balance, with tenderness. And you are made wonderfully. That word means set apart, unique, full of wonder. You were designed to reflect him in ways no one else can. There has never been, and never will be, another reflection quite like yours. So when you doubt yourself, pause and remember whose image you bear. When you feel small beneath the weight of the world, recall the hands that measured oceans and still chose to shape you. When you feel unseen, remember the one who counted your days before any of them began. Your value does not depend on your success, your title, or the opinions that circle around you. It is fixed, anchored in divine craftsmanship. You are the handiwork of God. And his works, David said, are marvelous. That means you are marvelous. Not because of what you've done, but because of who made you. Think of an artist watching their creation, how carefully they observe every curve, every flaw, every shade. When others see imperfection, the artist sees progress. When others see a mistake, the artist sees opportunity for refinement. So it is with God. He has never stopped looking upon you with affection. Even in your brokenness, He sees beauty becoming. Even in your confusion, He sees faith forming. Even in your silence, He hears trust learning to breathe. You are His living canvas, and He will not leave you unfinished. The Psalm says, "My soul knows it very well." How does the soul know something so vast? It remembers. Somewhere deep inside you, beneath the noise of the world, your soul remembers who made it. It remembers the warmth of that first divine breath, the voice that said, "Live," and the peace that followed. And though life has its storms, that memory remains, a quiet ember glowing beneath the ash. Sometimes we call it longing. Sometimes we call it hope. But truly, it is remembrance. Your soul has never forgotten its maker. Breathe now. Let your own body remind you of that miracle. The steady rise and fall of your chest. The pulse behind your wrist. The quiet awareness that you exist, here, now. Each is proof that He has not left you. Each is evidence that His design is still sustaining you. And if you listen beneath the heartbeat, you might hear it, the whisper of a God who still delights in His creation. He says, "I see you. I know you. I made you. And I am not finished yet." Oi. Every time you choose kindness, you honor the image of the one who made you. Every time you forgive, you reflect His mercy. Every time you rest, you trust His design. And every time you breathe gratitude, you join creation in worship. This is what it means to praise Him for being fearfully and wonderfully made, not to boast of self, but to remember that life is a miracle still unfolding. Let that thought rest over you like light filtering through leaves. You are the work of divine imagination. You were thought of before time began. You were chosen, formed, sustained, and loved. You are being shaped even now, by patience, by grace, by the hand that never stops creating beauty. And that same hand, steady and gentle, holds you tonight. Breathe slowly. Let the world fall quiet. Your soul already knows what your mind sometimes forgets. You are marvelous. You are loved. And you belong to the keeper of your design. How precious also are your thoughts toward me, O God. David pauses here, his pen trembling with awe. He does not write as a scholar now, but as a soul overwhelmed by affection. He has glimpsed something greater than knowledge, the tenderness of a God who not only made him, but continues to think of him. What does it mean to be thought of by God? It means you have never been out of His mind. Every breath, every season, every silence, is witnessed and remembered in love. You are not a fleeting idea. You are a constant meditation of the divine. When you wake, He is near. When you sleep, He keeps watch. When you wander, He follows. When you fall, He bends low to lift. His thoughts of you are not occasional glances, but unbroken attention, a gaze that never looks away, a love that never blinks. David says those thoughts are precious. The Hebrew word he uses suggests weighty, valuable, costly. To be known by God is a treasure. To be remembered by Him is wealth beyond all measure. His thoughts are not like ours, they are creative. They carry life within them. When God thinks, things come into being. When He remembers, He restores. When He imagines, He sustains. So when the psalmist says, "How vast is the sum of them," he is not merely counting, he is surrendering to infinity. He is saying, there is no boundary to how deeply I am loved. Think of that now. Every grain of sand on every shore, every drop of rain that has ever fallen, every heartbeat that has ever pulsed, God's thoughts toward you outnumber them all. And not one of those thoughts is indifferent. Each is filled with purpose. Each is wrapped in peace. Each is whispered with delight. You live surrounded by a love that thinks of you constantly. If His thoughts were the air, you could never breathe them all in. If they were light, the world would never know night. And yet somehow, He gives you enough of that light to fill the day you are in. When you wake in the morning, you awaken into His remembrance. Before you open your eyes, He has already called your name in His heart. Before your mind begins to race, He has already prepared peace for it. Before you take your first step, He has already written grace beneath your feet. Every day of your life begins not with your effort, but with His thought. When David says, "If I should count them, they would outnumber the sand," he is not speaking from exaggeration. He is speaking from intimacy. He has learned that God's attention is not divided, not conditional, not fleeting. It is endless and personal, as vast as the universe, and yet focused entirely on each soul. Try to imagine a love like that. A love that can hold every person, every prayer, every story, and still make you feel like the only one. That is the mystery of divine attention. It is not scattered like sunlight, it is gathered like flame. And it burns steadily, faithfully, for you. Perhaps you have wondered if God still thinks of you after you've failed, after you've disappointed yourself, after you've walked through grief, after you've stopped praying as often as you used to. The answer is yes. Especially then. When your own thoughts turn against you, His remain constant. When you lose sight of your worth, He never does. When you forget His promises, He remembers them for you. His mind does not change with your moods. His care does not waver with your choices. He holds you steady when you cannot hold yourself. This is not indulgence, it is mercy. A mercy that never ends. And when you finally grow still enough, you may begin to sense it, those thoughts moving around you like gentle wind, touching your spirit the way morning touches water. They do not demand. They do not condemn. They simply exist, love thinking of you, forever. Even now, as you lie here in the calm of night, His thoughts surround you, each one a small act of creation, keeping your soul alive and your breath steady. You do not need to pray for Him to remember you. He never forgot. You do not need to ask Him to stay. He has been here all along. You need only rest in the assurance that your existence is cherished beyond measure. If you could open heaven's pages, you would see them, your name written again and again in the language of light. Not as a record of performance, but as a record of love. He has thought of you through eternity, and every thought has been good. And when you awake, in the morning of each new day, or in the great morning of eternity, you will find him still there, still thinking, still loving, still holding you in his divine remembrance. Let your body grow heavy now. Let your mind unclench. You do not need to count his thoughts tonight. You need only rest in one, the one that has carried you through every hour of your life. You are mine. He is thinking of you now, and that is enough. Night has fully come. The lamps of the world grow dim, and the psalm, like a faithful companion, leads us down from wonder into quiet. All the thoughts of God, the weaving, the forming, the knowing, they now fold into a single truth, soft as the edge of sleep. You are being held. You are not a distant creation left to drift. You are the ongoing work of divine hands, tended, guarded, loved. The same hands that shaped your first heartbeat now cradle you through every sigh. The same voice that whispered you into life now hums peace over your rest. Everything that once felt scattered finds its place again. Your memories, your fears, your hope, your breath. All of it returns to the rhythm of his keeping. This is the sacred descent, the journey from knowing to trusting, from reflection to stillness. It is one thing to believe God exists. It is another to rest in the fact that he is here, in this very breath, this very heartbeat, this very quiet. You have spent the psalm walking through the expanse of his presence, up to the heavens, down into the depths, across oceans, into the hidden places of the soul. And now the journey circles back to the simple sanctuary of this moment. Here, in the hush of your room, you are nearer to him than you have ever been aware. Breathe in slowly. Feel your chest rise and fall like a tide on calm waters. This is creation's oldest rhythm, the inhale that began in Eden, the exhale that has never ceased. You are breathing his breath. He is breathing peace into you. Every sound around you fades, the soft hum of the air, the distant whisper of the world, until only stillness remains, thick with presence. And in that stillness, you can almost hear it. The gentle voice that spoke before time began, saying again, "It is good." He said it over light, he said it over oceans, he said it over you, and he has never taken it back. So much of life is spent trying to earn rest. We measure ourselves, compare ourselves, chase approval, as though worth could be won. But in the kingdom of God, rest is not a reward. It is inheritance. It is the natural response of a soul that remembers its maker. You were never meant to strive your way into love. You were meant to fall into it, again and again, like rain into the sea. And that sea is infinite. In this moment, you do not need to be strong. You do not need to be brave. You do not need to know what tomorrow holds. You need only to let yourself be held. The one who formed galaxies is the same one holding your exhaustion now, not asking you to fix yourself, only to rest in his faithfulness. Let his hand become the pillow beneath your spirit. Let his love become the rhythm that carries you deeper into calm. You are safe here. No expectation. No demand. Just the quiet companionship of the God who does not sleep. You can imagine his hand beneath you, steady as the ground, soft as morning light. His palm is warm with mercy, and in that warmth your burdens melt. Your worries lose their shape. The ache behind your thoughts finally loosens. You do not fall into nothingness when you rest. You fall into him, into the one who never lets go. He catches every sigh, every fading prayer, every tear you never let fall. And he keeps them, not as reminders of pain, but as proof of love endured. In the Psalm's quiet turning, David finds himself surrounded, behind, before, above, within. And yet, it is not confinement he feels. It is comfort. It is belonging. It is home. This is where the soul finally learns what it means to be at peace, not untouched by the world, but untouched within it. The storms may still move outside, but the center remains calm. Because the center is God, and God does not move. Let that peace begin to fill you like water filling a vessel. Start at your shoulders, they soften. Your jaw relaxes. Your breathing deepens. Your mind, once full of words, begins to empty into silence. This is prayer too, not spoken, but surrendered. Not asking, but allowing. You are being prayed over by the universe's first voice, the same one that called you into being. And its words tonight are few, but eternal. Rest, beloved. You are safe. You are mine. Now, as your body grows heavier, your soul grows lighter. The thoughts of the day lose their grip. The edges between waking and dreaming blur, and you drift toward the heart of peace. You are still in his hands. You have always been. And you always will be. The psalm has slowed to a whisper now. It no longer speaks in discovery, but in devotion. No longer searching for God, but resting in the God who was never gone. Every verse until now has led us to this threshold, the still point between waking and sleeping, where awareness softens and peace takes form. You are not alone in this quiet. You are being kept. The same presence that hovered over the waters of creation hovers now over your rest, formless, gentle, invisible, yet absolutely near. Breathe softly. Let your thoughts slow until they match the rhythm of your breath. Each inhale, he is here. Each exhale, I am safe. This is what it means to dwell in him, not to understand every mystery, but to live inside his keeping. David once wrote, "You hem me in, behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me." He was describing this moment, when the heart finally feels surrounded not by worry, but by warmth. When the soul realizes it has been inside God's embrace all along. You are not trapped by his presence. You are freed within it. You are not hidden from life. You are hidden in love. The psalm began with searching. Lord, you have searched me and known me. It ends with surrender. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Do you hear the difference? At first, David spoke of being known. Now, he invites the knowing. What once felt frightening has become a kind of peace. When love is this safe, transparency becomes rest. You can be honest. You can be still. You can let go of pretending. The one who knows your darkness has already filled it with light. Imagine yourself now at the edge of sleep, where thought becomes prayer, and prayer becomes simply being. The night around you is hushed, and you can almost feel the weight of eternity pressing softly against this hour, infinite presence condensed into this single breath. Every sound fades until only silence remains, and even that silence begins to hum with the quiet pulse of divine nearness. You are not dreaming. You are remembering. This is how it felt before you were born, held, known, loved. You have returned to the beginning, to the secret place where He first shaped your soul. He is here. Not somewhere above, but in the very air around you, in the stillness that covers your skin like light. You cannot measure how close He is, because He is closer than closeness itself. You cannot see His face, because His love fills the space behind your eyes. He is the calm beneath your heartbeat. He is the peace behind your thoughts. He is the presence that remains when everything else disappears. You are kept in Him, completely, continuously, lovingly. This keeping is not control. It is communion. It is the quiet exchange between Creator and creation where nothing needs to be said. He watches your rising and your resting. He numbers your steps and your sighs. He knows the direction of every dream you will dream tonight. He guards not only your body, but your spirit, the eternal part of you that never sleeps. And as you rest, He keeps watch. Your keeping is His worship. Your stillness is His delight. Let this truth dissolve every last fragment of fear. You do not hold yourself together. He does. You do not sustain your breath. He does. You do not protect your soul from darkness. His light does. Even if you fall into the deepest sleep, He will still be awake. Even if you forget the words of prayer, He will still remember you. Even if tomorrow's unknowns rise like waves, His hand will remain steady beneath the surface. The world may turn and change, but His love does not move. There is a sacred kind of peace that can only be felt when everything else grows quiet. That is where you are now, in the center of His keeping. Here, nothing is missing. Here, nothing can break. You are whole, because you are held by the wholeness that made you. Let the night wrap you like His robe of light. Let your heart fall deeper into calm. Let your final thoughts be simple, not questions, not worries, just gratitude. Thank you, Lord, for holding what I cannot, for guarding what I love, for being my beginning, my middle, and my rest. And as you breathe one last prayer before sleep, imagine His hand, steady, vast, unhurried, closing softly around the hours ahead. You will sleep within that hand. You will wake within that mercy. Because you are kept, completely, beautifully, eternally. The night has gone still, and the psalm, like a lullaby fading into eternity, rests its final notes upon your soul. There are no more questions left to ask, no more answers to seek. Only this, the steady peace of being known, and the quiet joy of being loved. Your journey through the psalm began in awe, at the God who searches and knows. It passed through wonder, at the God who formed and designed. It arrived at stillness, at the God who stays and keeps. And now, it ends where all faith ends, in trust. To trust God is not to understand Him. It is to rest in the mystery of His goodness. It is to say, I do not know the way ahead, but I know the one who walks beside me. That is where David arrives in this psalm, and where we arrive with him tonight, in the still heart of trust, where striving ceases and the soul simply abides. Trust feels like this, a slow breath in the dark, unhurried, unafraid. It is not a thought, it is a state of being. It is what happens when love becomes the air you breathe. You do not need to fight to hold it. It holds you. As your body sinks deeper into rest, imagine your spirit settling too, like a leaf drifting to the surface of calm water, weightless, effortless, kept. There is no need to prove anything to the one who made you. He already delights in what you are. Even your quiet is worship to him now. Somewhere beyond the walls of your room, the world still moves, winds crossing deserts, oceans breathing against unseen shores, stars turning silently in their appointed paths. And yet, none of it happens apart from him. Not one sound or motion escapes his care. And if he keeps all of that, the stars, the seas, the endless spinning of worlds, how much more surely does he keep you? You are not small to him. You are precious. You are part of the very fabric of his creation. When he thinks of you, he thinks of joy. When he looks upon you, he sees completion. When he keeps you through the night, he smiles, because keeping you has never been a burden. It has always been love. The psalm is full of motion, searching, forming, guiding, holding, but here, it finally grows still. Every action becomes presence. Every presence becomes peace. This is the moment David meant when he said, "When I awake, I am still with you." It is not only morning he speaks of. It is awareness, the realization that even in sleep, even in forgetting, you have never fallen outside the love that holds all things together. When you wake, you are still with him. When you dream, you are still with him. When you rest, you are still with him. Always, still. Let that truth fall softly through you now. There is nothing to fix, nothing to fear, nothing to earn. You are safe in his keeping, heart, mind, body, and breath. The shepherd does not sleep. His watch is perfect. His care unbroken. You can close your eyes fully, because his remain open. You can let go completely, because he never will. Think of his presence now as the vast sky above your dreams, wide, endless, protective. No shadow can enter it, no storm can shatter it. It stretches from eternity to eternity, and within that space, you rest. The same voice that spoke light into the world now speaks calm into your spirit. The same hands that shaped galaxies now hold your heart like something priceless and small. You are not drifting through the dark. You are being carried. So let the final edges of wakefulness dissolve. Let your thoughts quiet to the sound of your breathing. Each inhale, his peace. Each exhale, your release. He is near. He is enough. He is here. And in his nearness, you are whole. Every broken thing inside you is already being mended by mercy. Every unanswered prayer is already being held in grace. Every tomorrow is already written in love. Breathe one more time. Inhale stillness. Exhale surrender. This is what trust feels like, the complete exhale of the soul. God is keeping watch. Angels surround your rest. Peace has filled the corners of your heart. You are safe. You are loved. You are home. Let the night carry you now into the quiet heart of God, where dreams are gentle and every thought is peace. Night holds its breath. And in the hush, Psalm 139 becomes a blessing spoken over your life. Not the kind that needs loud words, but the kind that rests like light upon water, gentle, certain, everywhere at once. You have walked the Psalm's long shoreline, the God who knows, the God who is near, the God who formed, the God who thinks of you without end. You have learned to breathe where fear once held its ground. You have watched love stand where distance used to speak. And now, as the world grows quiet, the psalm gathers itself into one truth that can carry you into sleep. You belong to Him. Belonging is the soul's benediction. It steadies the hands, softens the jaw, slows the heart. It is the peace that does not ask for proof, because it remembers its source. Listen to the room, to the soft hum of night, to the rhythm of your breath answering the rhythm of His care. Nothing presses here. Nothing proves itself here. This is holy ground, not because of walls or windows, but because presence fills the space. If the psalm were a hand, it would rest lightly now upon your head. If it were a robe, it would fall in warm folds across your shoulders. If it were a song, it would be the note that lingers after all other music is done, the single tone that lets the heart remember what silence means. You are not adrift. You are addressed. Your name lives inside God's voice, and He has not stopped speaking mercy over you. Consider the kindness that has kept you. The unexpected word that lifted a heavy day, the strength to try again when you were sure you could not, the quiet turn in a path that spared you from harm you never saw. These were not accidents. They were the footprints of a shepherd who prefers to be unnoticed while he protects. Consider the tenderness that has taught you. How sorrow became soft in His hands, how shame turned into testimony, how weakness learned to lean and discovered it could walk farther that way. These were not coincidences. They were the wisdom of a father who would rather sit beside than lecture from afar. Consider the love that keeps thinking of you when your own thoughts grow thin, the love that holds every version of your story and refuses to let any chapter be wasted. This is not sentiment. This is covenant. There is a prayer the psalm plants at the edge of sleep. Let the one who knows me keep me. Let the one who formed me finish me. Let the one who thinks of me settle me into rest. Pray it without words. Pray it with breathing. Let every exhale be agreement, every inhale acceptance. Inhale, keeper. Exhale, I am yours. Inhale, mercy. Exhale, I will rest. Inhale, near. Exhale, enough. If worry arrives late and asks for your attention, let it sit at the threshold and listen with you. Tell it the story the psalm tells, that there is no away from God, that darkness is not dark to Him, that beginnings and endings live safely inside His hands. Worry is forgetful. Teach it to remember. If regret comes with old pictures, do not wrestle it. Hold those images in the same light that held you then. Say to them, "You are seen by a wiser love now." And let them fade, not into denial, but into the larger frame of redemption. If longing wakes and asks for tomorrow too soon, smile at it and promise, morning will carry you. Longing is not your enemy. It is evidence that you were made for more than fear. Let it lie down beside gratitude and sleep. Gratitude, yes, let it rise like a tide. For breath, for shelter, for the uncountable thoughts of God that have ushered you to this hour. Gratitude does not make demands. It makes room. Room for peace to sit down. Room for trust to unclench the hands. Room for rest to become worship. This is how praise speaks at bedtime, not with noise, but with a willingness to be held. Not with performance, but with presence. Marvelous are your works, the heart whispers, and my soul knows it very well. Oi! Picture the psalmist at his last line of ink tonight. He leaves the page not with answers, but with availability. Search me, O God, know my heart. He is not afraid of the light anymore. He is not hiding from the gaze that has only ever loved him. He lies down inside that gaze and lets it be his blanket. Do the same now. You are not offering God information. You are offering him access, to console, to cleanse, to keep. If there is any anxious way in you, his gentleness will find it and lay a quiet hand upon it. If there is any unrevealed way, his mercy will mark it out at dawn. Let the body agree with what the spirit knows. Shoulders sink. Hands release. Breath lengthens. Thoughts grow soft at the edges and drift toward kind horizons. You are inside a love that is older than your fear and stronger than your forgetting. The Lord who numbered your days is guarding this one's last minutes. The Lord who held your first breath waits patiently to hold your dreams. The Lord who will wake you in the morning whispers already over tomorrow's light, with you. Receive a quiet blessing as sleep approaches. May the God who searched you in daylight sing over you in the dark. May the God who formed your beginning renew you as you rest. May the God whose thoughts cannot be counted surround you with one thought you can carry, beloved. And when your eyes open again, whether to a new day on earth or to the bright shore of forever, may your first awareness be what this psalm has taught all along: when I awake, I am still with you. Breathe once more. Slowly. Let the benediction of belonging settle deep. You are known. You are kept. You are wonderfully made and wonderfully watched over. The night has no power to unmake what God has spoken in love. The darkness has no language he does not understand. Sleep now beneath his utterance, good and very good. The psalm has led us home. The voice that began in wonder now ends in worship. The searching has become stillness. The knowing has become rest. The soul has found its quiet. You can almost see David now, his harp resting beside him, the night air brushing softly across his face. The candle burns low, its flame steady, mirroring the peace within him. He has spoken of being known, of being formed, of being led, of being loved. And now, in the final breath of the psalm, he whispers what every heart longs to say: "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me, and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." Oi! This is not a prayer of fear. It is a prayer of surrender. He no longer hides. He no longer resists. He has seen that being known by God is not exposure, it is healing. It is safety. It is home. So he opens himself completely, and what he finds in that openness is not judgment, but rest. The everlasting way is not a path of striving. It is the gentle road of trust, paved by mercy, lit by grace. It leads through life, through death, and into forever, the unbroken presence of the God who never leaves. The psalm began with movement, searching, fleeing, wandering, reaching. But the ending is stillness. It ends where faith always ends, in the arms of the one who began it all. You have walked that same journey tonight. You have traveled from or to intimacy, from creation to rest, from being known to allowing yourself to be kept. And now, you too stand at the edge of peace, ready to be led in the way everlasting. Breathe softly. Let your spirit echo David's final prayer. Search me, Lord. Not because I am afraid, but because I am yours. See what I cannot see. Cleanse what I cannot reach. Hold what I cannot carry. Lead me in the way everlasting, the path that does not end when I close my eyes, but continues through sleep, through time, through eternity, always beneath your hand. There is nothing to perform here. No words you must find. This is where language rests and only presence speaks. God is not waiting for you to finish this day perfectly. He is waiting for you to rest in His perfection. He is not measuring your prayers. He is listening to your breathing. He is not judging your silence. He is filling it with His own peace. You are already where you need to be, in Him. Let your thoughts dissolve like mist into morning light. Let the world fade to a soft hum of grace. You are surrounded by something older than time, a love that existed before your first breath and will outlast your final one. That love is your home. That love is your future. That love is your everlasting way. Even now, as your eyes grow heavy, you are not falling into darkness. You are falling into God. The night is His robe, the stars His watchful eyes, the silence His song of peace. And in that peace, you can finally rest. Imagine yourself now lying in a field beneath the heavens. The air is cool, the grass soft against your hands. Above you, the stars seem alive, countless, constant, serene. Each one a thought of God, each one a reminder of how infinite His care has always been. They shimmer not to dazzle, but to reassure. If He can keep all of them in place, He can keep you too. And He will. The everlasting way is not far ahead. It begins here, in this calm, in this surrender, in this final breath of trust. You do not need to find your way to heaven. Heaven has already found its way to you. It lives in every heartbeat surrendered to love, every moment yielded to peace, every soul resting in the Creator's light. Tonight, that light is all around you. It hums quietly in the dark, the music of the unseen. It wraps you like a promise fulfilled, like a prayer answered without words. You are inside eternity now, held, healed, home. So let the psalm close not as an ending, but as a gentle beginning. You will sleep, and he will keep. You will rest, and he will renew. You will wake, and find him still here, as near as your breath, as certain as your belonging. Because this has always been the truth behind every verse. You were never lost. You were always loved. And love does not let go. Now, rest in the eternal light. Rest in the knowing that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Rest in the peace that holds all things together. Rest in the presence that neither slumbers nor fades. Let the words of the psalm drift away. Let the breath slow. Let the spirit settle fully in grace. And as you close your eyes, hear this final whisper of forever. You are mine. You are loved. You are home.